Hi everyone, my name is Moonshine and I am the host of today's AMA with Nosana, which is a decentralized GPU marketplace for AI inference, connecting users with idle GPUs to reduce compute costs and scale workloads efficiently. So we have David with us today. But before you introduce yourself, David, I don't know if you'd like to share your screen or you're turning your video on, or you just like to use your voice mic. Okay, unmute yourself. You have to tap the mic to unmute yourself.
No, that's right. Yeah, I would like to present a little bit as well. So I'll be sharing my screen as well during the call.
Interesting. So to start with, I'd like you to introduce yourself, introduce the team behind Nosana, where you guys are from, and how you guys started the project Nosana.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you very much, Moonshine, for the introduction. Yeah, hi everyone, my name is David. I do developer relations at Nosana. At Nosana, we're building a decentralized GPU marketplace. That means that we aggregate GPUs from all around the world and we package it in such a way that we make it available to our clients so that they can run AI inference workloads on our network. I've been in this space for about a bit more than 10 years already. Went back to school to study software engineering in order to learn a little bit more about how we can create digital scarcity using these new protocols that came onto the scene when the Bitcoin white paper was first published. But yeah, ever since then, yeah, managed to get a job within the industry. And when Nosana came onto the scene, joined the Nosana project and been slowly but surely helping Nosana, spending full time creating Nosana, building Nosana in order to be the largest GPU marketplace on the internet. And so, yeah, we have big lofty goals of what we're trying to build. As you can see here, here's a little map. So you can also view this as well at dashboard.nosana.com. As you can see, we have, let me zoom in a little bit to make it a bit more clear for you. As you can see, for example, here in the United States, there are like almost 200 GPUs online. In Brazil, there's 4. In Germany, there are 33. In Algeria, there is 1. There's a couple in India, and there's also a couple in China as well. And they vary from 3060s all the way to more enterprise GPUs such as A100s. The team consists about from 18 people, I think, at the moment. We have, of course, the developers. That's the core part of the team, people who are helping us build the project. All of these little pieces that need to come together in order to create this full-fledged product. We have the marketing department as well. We have the community department, the finance department, and we have the co-founders as well, which are Sjoerd and Jesse, who have been in the space for almost a bit more than 10 years as well already, have already also co-founded other projects within the AI blockchain space. And the reason that Nosana came onto the scene back in the day was because there was a pretty big shortage of GPUs. When OpenAI launched ChatGPT, all of a sudden a lot of people realized that, okay, actually there's going to be a pretty big demand for GPUs. So a lot of the big tech companies such as Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, they all started buying up all of the GPUs that were available in the market, causing a shortage. So, for example, one of the consequences was NVIDIA stock shot up tremendously, And there was all of a sudden also a very big shortage. So Nosana was created in order to fill in that gap, to help fill in that GPU shortage by using available hardware that already existed around the world in gamers' PCs. And we've created this product where then you're able to run your AI models then on the Nosana network instead of going to a more traditional cloud compute provider such as AWS or Azure or Google Cloud.
Interesting. All you guys are building is I acknowledge the fact that it has a social aspect.
I'm sorry, the connection is a little bit bad. Could you repeat your question, please?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
Yes.
now? Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. I was saying,
No worries.
what you something very interesting, and I said that I acknowledge the fact that you guys have the technical aspect, and I just want to say what you guys are building is nice. So I think my first question, how Nosana intends to provide you, on how to get the most out of the GPU. I really want starting from it. How can someone become a GPU owner, and how does
So if I understand correctly, your question is about how people can join the Nosana network as a GPU host. Is that correct?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. So there's some documentation. You can go to docs.nosana.com, and we have a documentation site that kind of helps you go through the process. And here you can see we have a host's GPU section. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So we have a getting started guide, and then you can kind of see then what are the minimum hardware requirements that we need for you to be able to join. You can see a list as well of the different GPUs that we support at the moment for you to be able to join the network. And you'll have to go then through the installation guide. And you can set it up for Windows and or Linux, for example, in order to be able to start, for lack of a better word, mining on the network. But yeah, as you can see, we also make it pretty easy for you. For example, we have a little bash script that you can run here in order to make it easy for you, so that you can get up and running as quickly as possible without any hindrances.
Nice. Now about the renting. So if I am a CPU host and I want to rent out AI user, so what's the rental fee? Like, do this fees go back to Ghana ecosystem? How's it?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? You keep falling out. I'm not sure if it's my connection or if it's your connection.
Oh, that was wrong. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So I was asking, if I am a GPU host
Mm-hmm.
and I want what rental?
Is anybody else experiencing that Moonshine is glitching a lot, or is it only me?
Let me leave and join. Give me a moment.
Okay. Or maybe I might need to turn off my video.
Hello, David. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I've also turned off my video just in case. Hopefully that goes a bit better.
Okay, is it better now?
It is actually. Okay, no, fantastic.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I wonder what was happening.
No worries.
So I was asking how the rental process works like. So if I'm a GPU host and I want to rent out my GPU to AI users, as is stated on your website, so the rental fees, does it go back to Nosana ecosystem? How is it splitted across the GPU owner and Nosana
Yeah,
ecosystem?
here, let's go quickly take a look together. As you can see, here are the different markets that we have. We have the concept of what a market is, and a market is basically one kind of GPU. So for example, if we go to the 4090 market, we can see that the price to rent one of the NVIDIA 4090 GPUs is 32 cents an hour. And you can see as well that what then the GPU host, gets paid out is 29 cents an hour. So there's a 10% network fee that goes back into the staking contract for the Nosana network. And yeah, so that might be interesting to hear as well. So we also have a staking contract. That means that you and other people, and you as a GPU provider as well, very soon will need to stake your tokens in order to participate with the staking, in order to be able to provide your GPU to the network. And that's more of a measure that we use in order to make sure that people don't try to cheat the network. And as you can see, there's 20 million tokens locked. There's 29 million tokens locked right now. It's almost $20 million staked. There's almost 16,000 people who are staking their tokens right now. And we should be able to see the APY as well show up. I'm not sure why that's... Okay, so like let's say I stake all of my tokens, and then I get an 8% APY then for the year. And if I bring it up to 365, we can see then the APY goes up to 30%. But yeah, to answer your question, you get 90% directly paid then from the client to you, the GPU provider, into your wallet right away when you start hosting your GPU on the Nosana network.
Interesting. I think my next question is, how do Nosana ensure the reliability and performance consistency of its decentralized GPU network, especially when it's compared to traditional centralized cloud providers?
So that's a really good question. We're not completely there yet in the sense of being able to give the guarantees that a traditional cloud provider is able to give their clients. On one hand, they have had at least 2-3 decades worth of experience creating their services and making sure that downtime is always kept to a minimum. And compared to that, like Nosana is still in its baby shoes, but slowly but surely, the reliability of our network has gotten a lot better, especially within the last year. So for example, we only launched to production at the beginning of this year. Before that, like we had a complete year of testnet where we were only testing the network. We were making sure that the network was operating reliably, making sure that we have benchmarking tests that are running consistently for all of our hosts to make sure that they are online consistently. And so in that sense, slowly but surely, like we have been trying our best in order to make sure that uptime is kept at maximum, that the GPU hosts that supply their compute to the network is also top tier quality. And we also have mechanisms, as I mentioned, such as the staking, that make sure that people and GPU hosts are incentivized to keep their hosts running within the agreed upon terms of when they want to lease out their hardware to the Nosana network. So we have been going through this constant iteration of making sure that the reliability of the network is operating 100% of the time. But of course, there's always, we're still working through some bugs as we're slowly but surely the product is maturing.
Nice. I think the next question I'd like to ask is, I see you guys plan to make the GPU cost effective through a dynamic pricing mechanism. So could you explain or elaborate on the pricing model that we employed by Nosana to balance supply and demand, offering cost-effective solutions for AI workloads?
So it's more of a pay-as-you-go model. As I mentioned before, for example, if we take a look at the 4090 market again, it's you pay as you go. That's the model that we have right now. So for example, I wanna, let's run a job so that we can kind of get a better idea of how it works. Here you can see a bunch of templates that we have. These are some integrations, some AI models that you can already run on the Nosana network. As you can see, for example, we have Gemma, we have DeepSeek. We also have other kinds of applications that you can run on the Nosana network. One that is visually appealing is the Jupyter Notebook one. Let's go with this one. Should spin up relatively quickly. As we can see, we're going to spin up a Jupyter Notebook. A Jupyter Notebook, for those that don't know, is a tool that many data scientists use in order to run experiments. And it allows them to just kind of quickly make some code and run that code on their data sets in order to either evaluate or validate or just clean up their data in any kind of way that they see fit. And for example, we're going to go for the 4090 market at 32 cents an hour. As we can see, we have the auto shutdown time, but basically this is the amount of time that we're going to reserve this machine for. We're going to reserve it for 1 hour. That means it's going to cost me 32 cents. I have enough balance, so that means I can now deploy the model. I need to sign a transaction, and as we can see, the deployment has been successfully created. We can see now that it was picked up by a node somewhere in the United States with a 4090 GPU with an Intel i9 processor with 31 gigabytes of RAM, with 760 gigabytes of storage. We can see the driver numbers and the CUDA numbers. And we can see as well right away what the logs of running this job is. And we can see as well that this job is ready to go. So we can already visit the service right away as well. And we can see that our this website basically in essence is running on the Nosana network right now. And then we can start and we can run then a little Jupyter notebook, and we can run some Python code here. And this will be available to me then for the hour that I reserved it. I hope that explains a little bit what the pricing structure is, and I hope as well that that explains a little bit how the product works.
Yeah, definitely. I think the screen you're sharing definitely helps a lot to help us understand how it's going to work. So I think the next question I have to ask is, I see you guys aim to minimize So can you share insights into how this approach contributes to environmental sustainability and the overall reduction of carbon footprint in AI computation?
Come again. Your question was about sustainability and overall reduction of
Energy
what is it?
waste.
Okay, yeah. So on some level, the way that we tackle the sustainability problem is that we're using compute that is already available on the net in the world. So in the sense of when you use Nosana, you don't generate more demand with then more traditional cloud providers in order for them to go produce more GPUs. So in that sense, it is more sustainable because we are able to tap into that existing infrastructure instead of wasting resources in order to create more infrastructure, which is just a little bit of a double spend. And as well, a lot of our providers, they do try to provide their GPUs in using renewable resources as well, because that's oftentimes the most the part of their operation that is most expensive is paying for the electricity. So oftentimes they use renewable energy, either it be windmills or solar energy, in order to power their GPUs and provide then compute to the Nosana network. And in that way, we are more sustainable compared to them more traditional cloud compute providers.
Nice. So I wanted to ask a question about the kind of partnerships you guys have currently. What kind of organization you guys partner with, real organizations or crypto projects sharing the same mindset? You guys?
Yeah, sure. So one partnership that we have that we're very proud of is with Sogni AI. Sogni AI provides an art generation tool that you can use on macOS or iOS. And so within their tool, you're able to create these very beautiful images. But these images aren't generated locally on the user is busy within their application. They press the create art button. It gets offloaded to Nosana. Nosana does the art generation and it then sends it back to the user through their iOS or macOS application. And so they've been growing exponentially for the past couple of months, and they've been a really great partner to us. And so in that for this growing demand for artificial or AI art, for example. It's a bit slow, isn't it? Right now is AlphaNeural, which provides decentralized AI for their users. And they also use Nosana as their main compute provider right now. So, and we're very happy to have.
Interesting. I think the network is breaking. I don't know if it's from your end this time around, but at this point, I just think it's Telegram just acting weird right now. But you can still hear me, right?
Yes, I can. Did you have an issue with me falling out?
I think it's just
Hello?
Telegram acting weird at the moment, but it's okay. I can still hear you. It's just lagging a little. So based on this whole partnership stuff, I wanted to ask a question about like the host onboarding process For individuals or organizations interested in monetizing their idle GPU resources, what does the onboarding process entail? And how does Nosana ensure a seamless integration for this new host?
Yeah, as I mentioned, you can go to the documentation website and you can run you can read the documentation in order to get integrated with the Nosana network. That allows you to create a wallet on your local machine that you can put some NOS tokens into and some SOL tokens in order to pay for the transactions. And then you can import that. Okay. Can you hear me? Or did this?
It kind of cut off, but it's okay. I was able to get you because I think we've gone over that already. So another question I wanted to ask was, let's just talk about the roadmap. So looking ahead, what are the key milestones and innovations Nosana aims to achieve in the next few weeks, months, to further revolutionize decentralized AI inference?
So right now, what we're looking at is just trying to make it a bit more, to make sure that the stability of the network is always operational, that whenever you post a job, that job never goes offline. We recently introduced as well the confidential job feature, which means that you're able to post confidential work. So you can use API keys, you can use access keys, you can use passwords within your the jobs that you post to the network, knowing that it'll be safe, knowing that it's secret, and that you can run jobs in a confidential way, and knowing that all of your logs, all of your needs won't get exposed to the network. Let me quickly fire up a job so I can show you then how that works. One moment. I'm publishing a job right now via the CLI tool. You won't be able to see it, but okay. So I just published this job right now. So let me disconnect my wallet, and you'll see that, for example, because this job is confidential, because I don't have my wallet connected, I won't be able to see the logs of this job. And as you can see here as well, the job definition is also been replaced with some other commands in order for me to be able to upload the job directly from my machine to this machine without any of the secrets being leaked out to the public. And so when I connect my wallet and I sign action to verify to the dashboard that I am the owner of each. It's loading the logs. And now we can see I have access then to these confidential jobs. And the next, the other things that we're looking at is adding more templates, adding more integrations. So for example, right now you can see that we have DeepSeek integrated, we have Google's Gemma LLM integrated. And as we're going forward, what we're looking at is just to integrate more and more models into the platform and making it more and more easy for you for our users.
Interesting. So I think I just feel at this point it's the problem is actually from Telegram because Telegram be acting weird sometimes. But the last question for me is in what way does Nosana differentiate itself from other?
Yeah, no worries. Like I was also wondering if it's
Did you get me? Hello, are you there, David? Hello. Hi, David. Are you there? Hello.
yes, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
I think at this point, let's just
Yeah,
take
indeed.
some
There's
community
something very weird happening.
questions. Let's just take some community questions, okay?
Yes.
Okay. So let's have guys, if you have a question, kindly raise your hand to signify. But we had a text question here from Random 8, and he was asking if someone hosting their GPU pulls it offline after it has been booked, how do they get penalized? And what kind of downtime is allowed as part of the terms and agreement? Did you get the question?
So it's a requirement. Yeah. Yes, it's what happens if the host puts their GPU online and gets booked and something happens and it goes offline. So that's why we have the staking requirements. It's in order to incentivize that, like when you say that you put your GPU online, that it stays offline. And if something happens and it goes offline, then your state's taken away from you. Is it clear?
Okay. So the other part of the question said what kind of downtime
Like what
is
that means?
allowed as part of the an agreement?
So we were talking just then, for example, you use this. So it's more about when the GPU gets reserved, when you need to make sure that your GPU is online. So let's say I posted this job and I reserved it for an hour, available for that 1 hour. But for example, I can also extend the deployment in order to rent it out for more hours. So it's just you need to make sure that when your GPU gets reserved, that it'll be available online for that period of time that you that it gets reserved for.
Nice. David, can you try leaving the VC and rejoining? I'm thinking that network is kind of also from your end. Maybe you could just leave quickly and join to see if it's get better.
Okay. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'll
Yeah.
mute up. Suja, you can ask a question, please.
No, it could very well be that it's my connection.
Yeah.
Suja, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Moonshine. David, hope I'm audible to you.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Hi,
Wonderful.
Sujay. Nice meeting you.
Hi. Hi. Same here. Telegram's a little glitchy. Let's see if we can hear each other. My first question was, what's the oldest GPU model that is allowed to be hosted? Like if I had a 3060 maybe, or even something slightly older, would I still be able to host it? Is there like a cutoff of, minimum GPU speed and RAM that is allowed on the network?
Yeah. So right now, the minimum requirement is at least a 3060. So yeah, anything below that oftentimes just isn't worthwhile putting up on the platform because it's just not, there isn't enough VRAM in order to run these higher end models that our clients require.
Okay, got it. 3060. Another question was, now back in the, I think sometime last year or even a little before that, I saw these kind of GPU hosting services starting to spawn up, and there's been quite a few. I don't know if any of them are still live or if they've done well, but if you had to sort of, when you were coming up with this idea and deploying it, did you get a chance to look at the competition and also sort of compare your pricing in terms of what is paid out to the owners of the GPU versus how much it costs for someone who wants to utilize the GPU in comparison with the competition? Are you like around the same, above average, below average? I know it also depends on the price of NOS, but is that something you're going to actively monitor to make sure that your offering is competitive?
So the pricing right now is based on dollars per hour. So the pricing isn't based on the amount of NOS per hour. So we do have at least try to maintain that kind of base currency for how jobs are paid for. And when it comes to price compared to our competitors, we're a little bit in the middle of the pack. I think if anything, like we might be a little bit below average when it comes to paying out for hosts, but that means also that like our pricing is also cheaper for our clients and what they need to pay in order to be able to put jobs onto our network. But indeed, like it's quite a competitive market at the moment, and there are a lot of other GPU providers as well right now, providing this kind of service. And we've tried to tailor our platform in such a way that we really focus on AI inferencing, because we think AI inferencing is going to be the larger market, like going forward. A lot of them are a bit more tailored towards training, for example, which is interesting. And but on the other hand, for example, when you hear stories about it cost OpenAI $200 million in order to train ChatGPT, it sounds impressive, but then you hear stories of it costs them at least upward of $1 million per day in order to keep ChatGPT running. You see that then there's a lot more money being funneled into running AI models, i.e., running inference compared to training. So that's why we've really tailored our platform towards inference, because we think that market is the more important one. So we really do hope that we'll be generating a lot more demand on that side of the fence, because then at least your utilization will be higher compared to if you go to other networks.
Interesting. So you do believe in, I mean, you do plan to have like a dynamic pricing based on the competition, right? I mean, if tomorrow somebody comes in with a much cheaper option or a cheaper offering, you would be willing to sort of match that offer or even undercut them to sort of keep a bigger piece of the market share? This is in AI in the AI space. I'm talking.
Yeah, so we're still kind of experimenting a little bit with the products that we're offering. So in a sense, we're experimenting now with just API endpoints. And in that sense, then we can kind of distribute the workload that is coming from those different API endpoints then onto different GPUs on our network, and in order to retain utilization. But that's so in that sense, like, we do control what the price is per hour per GPU. And we do try to remain competitive within the market, yes, because it is a balance that we're trying to strike between keeping costs low for our clients, but also trying to make sure that GPU hosts are incentivized and that they're paid well for providing their hardware on our network. And it's a difficult balance to strike. It depends on market conditions. It doesn't necessarily mean that if one competitor is going to undercut us, that we're also going to go for that strategy. But it is definitely something that we'll think about on what's the best way to approach our pricing structure if our competitors decide to try to undercut us.
Got it. No, I like the idea of optimum mapping based on the API endpoint. So you're not deploying a very powerful GPU to a task that does not need it, and vice versa. So I think that's pretty intelligent if you have that sorted out. But yeah, thank you so much for your answers. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you, Sujay. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your curiosity. Stay curious.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Moonshine.
Yeah, good to have you guys today. Thank you. So let's have, I want to unmute Jeremiah and see him here. So let's have David. David, about and ask question, mate.
Come again?
No, not you. I unmuted another David. David, you have been unmuted. You can ask a question, please.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for having me. So I have a question. So as the AI workloads continue to grow in complexity and size, how does Nosana plan to scale its infrastructure to meet these demands? And also, are there plans to support emerging hardware technologies or expand the network capacity? Do you get it?
So indeed, like the way that we plan on scaling out the network is just by incentivizing more and more GPUs to join our network. And as I mentioned as well already, we're also experimenting with how we distribute the workloads then to different machines. And in that way, optimizing software-wise as well, how we can run more jobs on the network instead of just onboarding more and more GPUs in order to fill in the supply. So there are different levers that we can pull on to try to make sure that we can keep on scaling out in that network and use our resources in an efficient way. And what was the second part of your question? Could you repeat that, please?
Okay. Okay, are there plans to support emerging hardware technologies or expand the network capacity?
Yeah. Indeed, we're always kind of looking at what's happening within the market. So, for example, NVIDIA recently launched their 5090s. I think it was a month or two ago, and we've quickly adapted and created a market for the 5090s as well. So, and now we're experimenting with the 5090s. And so in that sense, it's relatively easy for us to create these markets and to onboard new kinds of hardware onto the network. Right now, we only support NVIDIA cards just because it's a bit more easy for us with our current software stack. And but we are also looking forward to onboard, for example, Mac Minis in the future. I'm sure you've seen videos out there as well of people having a stack of Mac Minis, and they're running, for example, the latest high-end LLMs on them. And so we also think that there's a market there for people who want to host their Apple machines on the Nosana network. And also potentially, for example, AMD or ARM chips as well are also slowly but surely kind of coming on to the idea that AI compute is going to become more and more prevalent. And so we're also open to that kind of hardware expansion in the future.
Does that answer your question, David?
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah.
muted.
Thank you, David.
Jeremiah, Charles, you can ask a question.
I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to know, Nosana captures a wide range of users from AI startups and research labs to graduate students. I just want to know what's the platform, how the platform accommodates varying computational needs and budgets for such a diverse user base.
Indeed. So right now it's mostly focused on only GPU compute. So other kinds of IT services such as storage isn't something that we've implemented yet, but it is on the roadmap later this year. And because we do notice as well that our clients are asking for these kinds of services as well. But right now, like, we're mainly focused on this GPU compute part of our product. And slowly but surely, we are looking at other decentralized protocols that we might be able to integrate in order to flesh out our product offering.
Okay. Thanks for the answer. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for your question, Jeremiah.
Okay, thank you so much, Jeremiah. So let's have Ben. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Benkis. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you for the opportunity, Moonshine. My question is in regards to the marketing. I see that during the course of the AMA, Moonshine did not ask anything concerning the marketing aspect. So I'm asking, do you have any plans for, further marketing of the product, maybe on Telegram, Discord, or Twitter? That's my question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As I mentioned before, like, we have a whole marketing department as well within the team. So we do have people working full time trying to help us market our product. But we're also very much focused on not only being available on X, for example, but we're also going to conferences, we're giving workshops, we're giving talks, we're doing panels. This was me, for example, in Warsaw last week, talking to people, trying to onboard clients, generating new leads. We have part of our team was in San Jose, California, last week as well for the NVIDIA conference. This year, we're going to go to Dubai Token 2049. We're going to go to Singapore to Super AI. We'll be in Berlin for the We Are Developers conference. So we're very much focused as well on not only building out our community on Discord, on Telegram, on X, but we're also very much focused on being in physical spaces with people, getting to know people, shaking hands, establishing connections. because we just know this. It helps to be in the same room with people, and that just really helps create that connection necessary in order to build up that trust necessary for people to invest their time in getting to know you and getting to know your product. And because it's the most valuable thing is time, right? And it requires an investment of time in order to use a new product. And so that's the most scarce resource, and that's what we're trying to focus on right now, and generating new clients and the way that we market ourselves to get more people, and just also just showing that we're very much here and available, and there are real faces, there are real people with a lot of expertise behind building out the Nosana product, and that we're here to show that we have something to say and something to build, and that we're a trustworthy project, and we're not going to rug you.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer to the question. Thank you, Moonshine, for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Bankis.
Yeah, thank you, Banky. So let's have fun.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Franco, go ahead.
Hey David, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, everything nice. It's a well said AMA going on. I'll give you a quick commendation for the presentation. It's quite really amazing. I like that tea you're sipping. That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Few questions on my end here I would like to ask. In the decentralized environment where AI workloads are distributed across various nodes, what measure does the Nosana projects implement to maintain data privacy and confidentiality, ensuring the sensitive information remains secure during processing? So I don't know if you get that.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, with the confidential jobs that we're running on the network, for example, that you have to make sure that you sign the transaction in order to verify to the dashboard, for example, in this case, that you are owner of the job. And in that sense, we do create confidential jobs. So we have implemented that already, and I did give a short demonstration of that as well already earlier during the talk today. I would show it again, but I think we're a bit strapped for time at the moment.
Quite really amazing, really amazing. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wish you guys success for the project. It's nice. Yeah, thank you, Moonshine.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Franco. Thank you for your question.
So much, Franco. So let me get next questions here. A question that came in here. Just give me a moment. This question here says, can you share statistics metrics that highlights Nosana network performance and reliability? Did you get that question?
Yes, sure. So as you can see as well, any of you can see this right now. You can go to dashboard.nosana.com and you can see then some network statistics. So for example, here we can see there's more than 1,000 GPUs online at the moment. This is an interesting metric that we're tracking constantly, is the total deployment hours. So that's basically the amount of hours that get reserved cumulatively, I think is how you say it. Basically, we're going to cross the 2 million hours mark pretty soon. We can see the amount of running deployments at this given moment. So we can see there's 700 jobs running at the moment. And we can see as well that there's over 1 million deployments that have successfully completed on the Nosana network. So these are the numbers that we care about right now and that we're trying to elevate as much as possible because it shows the network utilization. And as we can see, there's a graph as well of the network. So we can see, for example, the deployments over the past year. There was a big spike last year, and now slowly but surely it's kind of going upwards again.
Interesting. I think all the questions will be answered. I think towards the end of the AMA, the network is now stable, and I'm like, oh my God. What happened? Although a few other complaints, but then if people use you try to navigate that your extra that's not it. Just about outside you on your guys, in the space now that they're trying to that you guys are trying to uh, token utility assets. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to find out what you say.
Yes. Thank you very much, Moonshine. Thank you for hosting the space today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your curiosity. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, this is a great community. Thank you all very much for your attention and your questions today. I would like to invite you to stay tuned as well to our X account. We'll be announcing a challenge soon, a bounty, if you will, where the prize is $1,000 worth of NOS. And basically, if you have any JavaScript or experience or Node.js experience, and the challenge is to create a template, just as I showed during the demonstration today. And so be tuned. In a couple of hours, we'll be announcing the challenge. And again, first prize, $1,000, and it's relatively easy to create a template. We'll be here, we'll be on the Discord to help you throughout this challenge as we go forward and we continue growing the Nosana network. And thank you again, Moonshine, for hosting the session today.
Yeah, guys, do well to join their socials, follow them on X to participate in the bounty program, also get updates, information about Ghana. Those who weren't able to examine, but head dropping once we have another AMA to